This is Things You Might Not Have Heard, and I am Jay Cleveland Payne, and I am getting you in the queue the 8 stories, actually 10 stories in the past weekend. It's Monday, the 26th of February, so we have 10 stories from the weekend to give you that you voted as conversational, and we're going to give them to you covering information, politics, current events, and pop culture news. I'll explain the vetting process in just a bit after the headlines are done. Let's bring you some fun things for today, so you want to stick around till the very end of the program. Website is, of course, this is a conversationproject.com. Check us out every single day for all great things and what we do every single day. And of course, you can email us anytime you need to tell us what we need to do at the conversation inbox at gmail.com. For this Monday, 26th February, we have 10 stories, as we said. No particular order as they're going to come out to you. These are just sort of how they came out in the thing, but we'll give you some context to how some stories progressed. They are, of course, 10 stories of the top 30 for the weekend. We'll explain how those stories got to be in there in just a bit. Let's get to the actual headlines. Starting off with headline number 1 for this morning. The headline reads, Shane Gillis returns to Saturday Night Live and bombs opening monologue. So what people basically thought as a fairly bad idea turned into a very bad idea. I did not see all of Saturday Night Live. I saw the cold open, which I heard was terrible in various online sources, and it was. And I watched the monologue. That's all I had time for in clips of that, and it was bad. If you got 8 minutes of time to spare, go ahead and watch it because it's pretty cringe. And the whole point of it was, he got fired from Saturday Night Live years ago, but he kept saying, "Don't Google why I got fired," which the whole context was in that. And then he told some jokes about Down syndrome people. It was pretty terrible, pretty cringeworthy. He joked about his dad. It was just bad. This was a bad idea, although the press was good for it. People brought eyeballs into it. I'm not sure how the whole rest of the show went, but we do know that the people that watched it to see what was going to happen saw the train wreck that they were expecting, if that's what you're looking for. If you're looking for train wrecks, then you found one on Saturday Night Live this week. Let's go to the story at number 2 this morning. The second headline for this morning reads, MLB players miffed at sports news see-through pants, relaying concerns to league. There may be larger problems going on in the world, but guess what? If you're watching a video, you can see the pants. You can see how thin they are. You can see that what you're seeing is essentially the shirts mostly tucked underneath the pants, although there may be just very tight underwear, whitey tighties, if you will. MLB players are like, dude, this is not going to work very well. We'll see if they can work out collective bargaining to fix the pants. But yeah, see-through pants, essentially very thin pants in the new uniforms, not going to fly very well for players in Major League Baseball. Your mileage may vary. Maybe you want to see more packages in pants of baseball players. But if you're not, and if you're a player, you're probably not too thrilled about the way that's rolling out right now. Let's go to the third story for this morning. Story headline number 3. The headline reads, Biden's approval rating falls to 38% in Gallup poll. Speaking of things that are very see-through that people don't like, they don't like Biden. They don't like Biden at 38% Gallup rating poll. Now, here's the thing. There are worse things to talk about. We have a story that's in the queue right now going on the, we'll talk about in a bit about the resignation of the Palestinian government. They all basically just resigned because they have a 98% disapproval rating. Basically, nobody likes that, which is probably why we have a war between Gaza right now. But Joe Biden, the man who's supposed to be running the actual good country, air quotes, that runs the world, air quotes, not very well liked. 38% in the Gallup poll coming on a few days ago. So this is old news by now. About 28% approve of his handling of immigration. 67% disapprove of immigration specifically, and that's just one of many topics that they don't like Biden on. Oh, by the way, he's also really old, which is part of why people aren't all that thrilled about Biden being in charge. Let's go to the fourth story for this morning, as converted by you. John Cena says agency told him to reject Barbie cameo, quote, beneath you. John Cena revealed that his agency advised him against accepting the cameo role in Greta Gerwig's Barbie movie. Of course, he played a mermaid, a Ken mermaid, essentially. The agency believed the cameo was beneath him and it was not in line with the career path he was on. And despite the advice, he chose to do it. He had some fun. It was a great surprise to the movie. And of course, since Barbie was such a major hit, John Cena got a chance to get into another great big movie. If you're watching the video, there's John Cena sitting in the office as he finished his makeup for his mermaid costume, which essentially just his wrestling costume, but instead of jorts, it was the mermaid tail, which I guess he's basically sitting behind a thing, and a wig, which kind of covered up the fact he's already losing his hair. That's another story for his wrestling career. But John Cena basically made the right choice, one would say, because he got the exposure. He's in the big movie. And while it may seem like John Cena's overexposed, he's in kind of everything right now. Sometimes you just got to go for what you got to go for. Right now, it doesn't seem to be too bad for him because it's working for him, especially since with the writer's strike, he had a chance to play WWE for a while and work off those things. We'll see what next project he pulls and whether it actually will embarrass him. Chances are, probably not. Let's go to the story that's at number 5 this morning. Kevin Costner and Jewel may not be on the same page with their relationship, sources claim. This was a very confusing article that we pulled off of Yahoo News. Actually, it was aggregated from one of the other rags. But here's the deal. Kevin Costner is embracing being single, and sources say he's staying busy, traveling, putting himself out there, and adjusting to life since his divorce from Christine Baumgartner. Also, Kevin Costner and Jewel are rumored to be dating, and Costner is open to remarrying. So, yeah, their sources say that the two aren't quite exactly on the same page. Maybe they're just hanging out. Maybe they're actually in a relationship. But the sources are all over the place as well. People care about Kevin Costner and Jewel because they're famous. So that's all great and good. And they want a good story. And Kevin Costner with the divorce stories from Christine Baumgartner was a good story to move on from. And now the next level on that one, moving on from one to the next. Except maybe he's not moving on to one to the next. Or maybe he is. Or we're not sure. When someone knows, those sources will come out with some other, conflicting information. The next headline. Speaking of conflicting information, Al Pacino, 83, and Noor Alfallah, 30, go on first date night in months since custody battle. Now, this is the whole weird thing it is. So, Noor Alfallah, who is 30 years old, and Al Pacino's girlfriend, who of course is 50 years younger than he is, had a baby a couple years back. And so now the 4-month old is dealing with the issues of having a very famous, very old father and the custody battles to go with that one. She has filed for full custody, which I guess she could do that since she's much younger. And he is paying a whole lot of money in child support and for things for medical bills. And so after all this back and forth, it was said it was basically a battle to do the custody battle. Now they're dating again. Now they're hanging out. Now they're doing stuff. They had to go to court to figure out the money so they can go back to dating again. If being a celebrity you think is all that wonderful to do, this is what sometimes it is. This is why soap operas were so popular and were made that way. You see rich, famous people who seem to have it all dealing with evil twins and witchcraft and losing all their money. This is what's going on. This is what they're actually dealing with. Al Pacino had to be sued by his girlfriend to get child support so they can go back to dating again, who, by the way, is young enough to be his granddaughter. Next story. Oh, I didn't press the button. There they are. Lovely. All net nurse black. Looking great. I wonder who babysat. I don't know. The next story, number 7 this morning. Fairly Odd Parents sequel series is ordered at Nickelodeon. Officially, it's done. It's going to happen. Fairly Odd Parents: A New Wish is coming back, where Cosmo and Wanda will come back to be the fairly odd fairy godparents of a young child. And the original voices, Suzanne Blakesley and Darren Norris, are coming back to play Wanda and Cosmo, respectively. So this is going to be awesome. A new character named Hazel, voiced by Ashley Crystal Hairston, is going to be there as the new purveyor of wishes by the two not so very great godparents. Let's move on to the next story. There they are, Wanda and Cosmo. Yay. All right, let's go on to the next story, which is a kind of a funny one, but also tells us about the actual nature of things going on. Moon lander tipped sideways on lunar surface, but alive and well. Odysseus, or Odie as I like to call him, has experienced a mishap during its lunar landing operation where it tipped over sideways after touching down on the surface. Despite the unconventional landing posture, the spacecraft is reporting to be alive and well. That's a quote. The incident occurred when one of the Six's lander's feet caught on the moon's surface during its final descent, causing the lander to tip over and come to a rest in sideways position. Drawn some attention, but the mission is not considered failure as the lander remains operational, capable of continuous mission, even though it's a little tipsy. You spend that much money, you're happy it just lands, it doesn't blow up. you deal what you deal with. Maybe it's not going to roll around like you want to. Maybe it's just kind of on the side. Maybe the picture is a little slided. You know how grandma, you're on a Zoom call and grandma's got it tilted sideways, and he's like, "Grandma, turn your phone." That's what we're dealing with right here, essentially. Man lights self on fire outside Israeli embassy in Washington. These next two stories are extremely deep, extremely detailed. I need you to be kind of go along with me on how deep they are. This was a breaking news story from yesterday. We posted it, and more details came out about this later on when we found out more about what was going on. An active duty member of the U.S. Air Force is in critical condition after he set himself on fire outside the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C. The distressing event occurred recently, and the emergency services responded, promptly taking the service member to the hospital where he remains in life-threatening condition. Reports indicate that the individual set himself ablaze, shouting "Free Palestine," highlighting the political motive behind the action. Incident has drawn significant attention, reflecting the severe actions taken by individuals and sparking discussions on the underlying issues. We don't know more about the person. We just know he is, or the person is, an active member of the U.S. military, active member of the Air Force, set himself on fire outside the U.S. Embassy in Washington to protest what's going on in Gaza. The next story. This is one that's not going away, so we're bringing it up here. It is also, because you guys engaged in it, it's not going away. Vigils held nationwide for non-binary Oklahoma teenager who died following a school bathroom fight. Next Benedict, a non-binary teenager from Wausau, Oklahoma, tragically passed away following an altercation in the school bathroom. Next, who identified with the they/them pronouns, died one day after the incident, which led to emergency responders being called to the home of the mother. Community of LGBTQ plus advocates have expressed profound concern and sorrow over Nex's death, prompting vigils across the United States. The entire United States. Many places held vigils for Nex's passing over the weekend to raise the awareness of care for non-binary, non-conformist people, and just incident in general. This is a story that I've honestly been trying to back away from because I don't know how to cover it. But this is a story, as I posted into for your engagement, you engage in a lot, whether you're engaging in it because you're feeling pain and sorrow for Nex, or maybe you're feeling just something kind of odd for the condition for her, for I hate saying condition, for her choice. It is what it is. These are stories. These are things that aren't going away. So we're going to do our best to bring them up, see how conversational they are, sift through the comments to make sure that nothing's all too vulgar and mean, if you will, and try to have these conversations with the best people to have conversations with. You folks out there, as a part of the Conversation Project here in our feeds, here as a part of our family, are great, are awesome, can actually delve into deep discussions. So hopefully we'll be able to do that with stories like this one. Today, here's the headline: Vigils across the nation for Next Benedict. This story is not going away. A story that apparently also is not going away, that we don't have time to really get into, is this one in our errors, apologies, and omissions section. And it is the number 10 story from the weekend. So this was number 10 of all 94 different stories we had posted this weekend. Star Wars actor Billy D. Williams reacts to being called closet queer due to gay rumors. The man who was known in the 70s and 80s for all sorts of male energy, of course, Colt 45 and even Razzle Dazzle, if you remember that one. Lando Calrissian, famous in the Star Wars franchise and being the player, having some sort of Renaissance thought processes in his new portrayals in the expansion things. Now, people are saying, maybe there's something to that. And he's not exactly saying no. Not saying yes. Not saying no. One of those things where good pub is a great pub. Any pub is a great pub, and he's getting pub, and he's taking it in stride. Now, this is our teaser story for this morning, which is a teaser we can possibly tease. Story we can tease. We can possibly talk about come tomorrow if your engagement engages. How about them apples for our Monday morning talking? How does this work for engaging stories for your teasers or any stories? Every 50 minutes or so, we post news stories in our feeds. What are your feeds, you may ask? Well, I will tell you. Our feeds are our links on Facebook and Twitter or X. These are the links for our social media pages. Go to facebook.com/thisisconversationproject or twitter.com or x.com/th_conversation. And you can see these stories posting every 50 minutes or so. Like them, love them, hate them, share them. And truly, you just engage in the stories and we get a chance to pick them out. Today, 10 stories we posted for you were the top 30 stories from the weekend. Over 90 stories because we get over 30 a day or so. We'll get over 30 stories for this Monday. And in that Monday, we're going to pick from that stories, pick that the top 15 stories and pull 8 of those. So we'll get 8 stories from tomorrow. Oh, what's the story we're talking about? Remember months ago when we talked about North Korea, Kim Jong-un saying we need more babies in North Korea? South Korea is saying the same exact thing. South Koreans companies are offering workers $75,000 to have babies amid the country's desperate bid to have more children. South Korea is trying to bump up the baby big by paying people to actually have kids. Read the story, get engaged in the story, see how this means, and while the big race for all nations to have more children, because essentially we've been slowing things down, so we don't have enough kids to support all the ones we have here. We also have a kind of a weird, sort of terrible world to bring kids into, which is sort of the paradox of it all. But if this is a story you want to get into, it's simple. Go to our feeds on Facebook and Twitter and engage. Just like Picard says, engage. Now let's talk about our sponsor, spotlight sponsor for this morning. It is Sports Integrity. Sports Integrity is a great source for memorabilia for sports stuff and for just showbiz stuff as well. Now, as March Madness is coming into play, people are going to play a bit longer for their sports sort of love. We got out of Super Bowl time, we'll get into March Madness, and then we'll have some playoffs for basketball, hockey, and then of course it's all baseball for forever. But whatever you're into, whatever sports you're into, college, professional, international, Sports Integrity probably has the thing for you or the gift for someone else. Check them out with their great authenticity guarantees, plus Hollywood stuff. If you're watching the video, you see pictures at the top of stuff from Grease, from Back to the Future, things like that. You can see all sorts of great things from sports, from Hollywood, from other type of famous stuff, signed, sealed, and guaranteed to be delivered by the famous person. So check it out at Sports Integrity. They are an affiliate sponsor, so if you use our link, we get a bit of commission. This is conversationproject.com/sports integrity. This is conversationproject.com/sports integrity. Check them out today and get your gift for you, because sometimes it's about you, or for yourself today. That was awkward. That was weird. All right, so let's talk about us. As we are wrapping up this month of love, this is the Conversation Project's time here in the show where we always promote ourselves. We do an extra long promotion in February because we've got to, we've got to prop ourselves and raise our numbers. We're trying to gain an additional $200 in added revenue, added contributions every single month here for the Conversation Project. That's what we're trying to do. In February, we use this as our pledge drive month. So we ask you a couple things you can help us out with. Number one, visit our website. We say that often because the website is the home for everything. This is theconversationproject.com. On Facebook and Twitter are our feeds, facebook.com/thisisconversationproject and twitter.com/th_conversation. And you can engage in the feeds and tell us what to talk about every single day. Check out our videos, our hot takes and other videos on various places, including TikTok and YouTube. TikTok, we're at The Conversation Project. YouTube, search for The Conversation Project as well. It's, the link, there's also a link at our website to go straight to that one. We give you the videos, of course, videos like this one, plus the hot takes and smaller videos we're trying to get into as well. You can subscribe to the podcast or subscribe to the us as well. That's basically becoming a partner by going to buymeacoffee.com/jclevelandpayne. Also, Cash App and Venmo one-time contributions are great at jclevelandpayne. And our podcasts are found wherever your pods are caught. You can go to our website, the podcast page, and see some of the links to some of those popular podcatchers. Now, we do this in February, so today's the 26th, 29 days, an extra day of this, if you will. But so for the rest of the week, essentially till Friday, when we get into March, we'll be doing this extra long thing because we need support. Over the past year, the past 365 days, we've gone through a lot. And if you followed along and if you're already a sponsor, you're getting the details on back stuff. I'm doing less of the crying about the tornado house here with you in public, and more about it to the people who pay for it, which seems kind of odd. But there have been a lot of struggles and things to get in the way of progressing in this one, or just maintaining. You can't really maintain it, so you got to keep progressing. We are telling you exactly what's happening. We know what's going on, and we need some help. So if you're willing to offer up a little help, we're looking for it. You be a sponsor, just follow the feeds. Always look to follow the feeds, and always look to email us with stuff, the free stuff, because that's the most important thing. But if you want to help us gain more traction in this content game when everybody's quitting, so maybe we have a shot at doing some things, we will take it. Now let's get into the finality, the finals for today, where we go to the fun stuff. Fun stuff happens every single weekday morning, and we always begin the fun stuff with birthdays. Birthdays are the funnest of the stuff. Today, we're going to put the main shot on Michael Bolton, turning 71 years old. He's of the people we've picked in our three, the one that has the most sort of long-standing power. But the other guys aren't doing all that much, but they are. Michael Bolton, who is 71 years old, who, if you think of 80s love power ballads, and of course 90s, just satire of love power ballads, and even into these days, Michael Bolton is in your brain, and he is 71 years old, which means you are much older than you think you are. Much love to Bill Duke, who's 81 years old on the day, the actor, the producer. He just won a big awards a few days ago, so we got some love in that one. So he's actually in the news, unlike the other two guys. But Bill Duke, love that guy. He's that big, tall, creepy-looking guy that you know when you see him. Oh, you know, Bill Duke's 81 on the day, and Greg Germain is 66 years old today as well. This history lesson is 1991, where Tim Berners-Lee introduced World Wide Web, all one word, no spaces, the first web browser, 1991. You thought this web thing was a whole big old thing forever. Remember, it was birthed in the 70s as a part of a military project, and Mason came along in the late 80s as something, but the first time people had a web browser to actually translate HTML, or the language that is HTML now, came from World Wide Web. We're not using anymore. I mean, we're not using a lot of those anymore, but it is what it is. And today, our celebration is Thermos Bottle Day. Now, Thermos is a brand name, but the Thermos bottle, popular for basically keeping your hot stuff hot and cold stuff cold, is what we're celebrating today. Invented in 1892 by Sir James Dewar, the Thermos flask consists of two flasks superimposed, joined at the neck. The gap between the two vessels is partially evaporated, creating a vacuum that greatly reduces heat transfer by conduction and convection. There you go. Known as vacuum flask or amphometric flask. The vacuum flask is the name according to the design structure of the vacuum layer. There you go. It is what it is. Thermos Day. It's Thermos Day. It's also Monday, February 26, 2024. Thank you for being with us for this Monday edition of the Conversation Project's Things You Might Have Heard. I am Jay Cleveland Payne. I am very proud and glad to give you this news update every single weekday morning. And as I say often, it's a labor of love and a labor that is labor. So we ask you in this month of love to show us a little love and see if you're willing to help us out in the progress in the work. If you don't have the capacity to do that, or you don't deem us quite there yet, stick around with us. Make sure you're emailing us with your comments and your concerns. And of course, stick around for the feeds on Facebook and Twitter to give us the stories to talk about every single day. Stay limber, stay hydrated, stay on task. Love you, mean it. Have a great Monday. We are rolling out of February, and today is a day where we have weird weather, where it's a possibility of both tornadoes and fire. So early spring. Thanks, Poncelli Phil. We'll be back for an early morning edition, 5:50 a.m. launch time for this thing for Tuesday. Will we chat up the story about South Koreans having more babies, or what other stories we'll have in the queue? We'll know tomorrow morning. We'll see you tomorrow morning.